Hello, I'm Marilyn Monroe, and welcome to Avery and Miguel's English 313 Pop Culture Studies Final. Today, they will be exploring themes of feminism and Orientalism through the song Nude by K-pop group G-Idol. Now, I don't know what K-pop is because I'm from the 1950s, but I'm so excited to watch, and I hope you are too. So, enjoy!
G-Idol are a South Korean girl group founded in 2018 by UCube Entertainment. G-Idol are unique in the K-pop industry as they write and produce most of their own music. And as feminism is still a taboo subject in South Korea, G-Idol's overt references to it in their music has made them edgy in the K-pop industry.
G-Idol's 2022 song Nude makes direct references in its lyrics to the objectification of women's bodies in the music industry. The music video uses visual homage to classical art, literature, and old Hollywood.
One of Nude's biggest visual inspirations is Marilyn Monroe. During the 1950s, she was viewed as the peak of feminine beauty. G-Idol's visual references to Monroe makes commentary on how women in the K-pop industry aren't treated much better than the actresses of the 1950s Hollywood studio system. Furthermore, Monroe was overtly sexualized in the media after it was found out that she had previously posed for nude photos.
But I prefer a man who lives and gives expensive jewels.
Within this analysis, it can be seen that the dumb blonde stereotype can mirror the demure Asian woman stereotype seen in popular culture. In both cases, the feminine counterpart must present herself as lesser than and submissive than her male counterpart lead.
The pearl dress auction scene is a great example of themes of Orientalism within the video. Soyeon is objectified and on auction as if she is an item to be possessed, akin to a slave auction. This ties into Hook's and her discussion of the exotification and fetishization of women of color. Further, the members of the audience are all non-Asian. This reinforces the messages of dehumanization and objectification tied to Story's discussion on Edward Said's Orientalism.
실례합니다. 여기 계신 모두 작품을 기대하셨다면 I'm sorry. 그딴 건 없어요.
Many of the theorists we've discussed in this class would analyze the pearl dress auction scene in very different ways. Hooks would state that this is an example of the commodification of exotic women and the exoticization and fetishization of Asian women within Western culture. Story's perspective would bring in ideas of intersectionality, Orientalism, and their concept of hegemony. These Asian women are demure and seen as objects to be collected, as well as being molded towards Western culture in order to teach them, quote unquote, properly. And as a result, this will heighten their status in society as it is bringing them closer to the hegemonic ideal. Halberstam, however, would see this as empowering. The group is acknowledging these stereotypes and is somewhat of a nod and a wink to those that, quote unquote, get it, and a middle finger to those who might ascribe to these stereotypes that they are reclaiming and reinventing and turning on their heads.
When it comes to discussions of feminine sexuality and power, one of the major questions is, who is in charge? Women understand that they exist in a capitalist system that only views them as tools for gain and use this to exploit the system itself. Patricia Hill Collins would argue that society is structured by cisgender, white, straight men who are secure in their power and therefore passively and actively experience the world in their favor.
Early on in the video, one of the members can be seen reading Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. This is considered a classic. This is important to note because this subverts the convention that Asian women are lesser than and demure and cannot think for themselves. The member is seen reading her book, and this ties into the discussions that Halberstam has had on invention of new femininity and rejection of traditional femininity. This scene also ties into Story's discussions on Orientalism and the perpetuation of Asian societies as quote-unquote inferior. However, this scene also ties back into Halberstam's ideas of reclamation and subversion when a cartoon of the same member reading the same book is shown. This ties into the rejection of stereotypes, and the cartoon itself, sexualized very greatly, is a reclamation of power and a nod and a wink also to the audience.
The use of Walt Whitman in this scene is no coincidence. Leaves of Grass was a very sexually provocative book for its time, and its author, Walt Whitman, was an openly queer man in the 1800s. To be a feminist in any authentic sense of the term is to want for all people liberation from sexist role patterns, domination, and oppression. Bell Hooks. In the live stream, we see Soyeon taking her top off, but she is only seen from behind. She has control over what the audience does and doesn't see. In this instance, she is reclaiming power and deciding what the audience is or is not allowed to see. However, within the same scene, Soyeon is casting the casual viewer as a voyeur. Her use of second person in the song implies speaking to the viewer and accusing them of sexualizing and fetishizing her inadvertently. This forces the viewer to acknowledge their passive, subconscious sexualization of the feminine body.
Late in the video, there's a visual reference to a very infamous incident that occurred within the art world. The famous street artist Banksy had secretly set up one of their paintings, Girl with Balloon, to automatically shred itself if it were ever sold at auction. The video makes direct reference to this and is a rejection of sexualization by the media and society from the group as a message to the audience, which ties into discussions by Halberstam, Hooks, and Story.
Nude serves as a representation of global feminism, both positive and negative. Modern feminism would laud it as a leap in the right direction. However, this delves into the dangers of mediocrity and rewarding minorities as a credit to their race. Why suddenly choose to center this group by using American stereotypes? This serves a greater purpose to demonstrate that Western ideals of feminism are becoming popular, and Western ideals themselves are what needs to be challenged as the gender landscape evolves.
On behalf of Avery and Miguel, I would like to thank you all for tuning in, and a very special thank you to Miss Mary Monroe for that wonderful introduction.